Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart, and you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.
Watch. Okay, well, has this always been a thing? Where have I been?
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw recap presented to you by the Smacked Raw podcast. My name is Kyle Tyson. I am joined by Mr. Jay Thunder over here, and we are currently live on the Standing Streamers Twitch channel. Make sure to like and subscribe so you can be notified whenever we go live, and also to watch his show, Putting You Over. Jay, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, Kyle? How you doing, man?
Dude, I am fucking stoked after a bonkers episode of Monday Night Raw. Jesus.
To be quite honest with you, I didn't fall asleep on this episode, so I'm happy.
Oh, that's wonderful, man. Dude, what a episode of Raw to get into, man. There's so many things that happened tonight, man. But before we get into it, we are being introduced to a new audience, given that we're on the Standing Streamers show. So let's talk a little bit about ourselves. We are the exclusive recap show for Wrestling News World. It is an awesome website featuring very talented writers and other podcasts as well. Make sure to bookmark their page and maybe even check out their premium content. If you ever miss a live episode of the podcast, you can catch us on youtube.com/SmackDraw Podcast, excuse me. Also, the audio version of the show is pretty much everywhere you can listen to your podcasts.
My favorite is Spotify.
Spotify, my favorite too.
Yes.
Absolutely agree. And then, lastly, please, genuinely, without the big pitch and voice and all that stuff, please help support us. Not only by liking, subscribing, and sharing our show, but heading on over to the Patreon at patreon.com/SmackDraw Podcast. Subscribe to one of our awesome tiers. We offer some really cool rewards, like first access to pre-recorded YouTube videos, the ability to be featured on our show with a video recorded question or unpopular wrestling opinion. Outside of that, we got a little bit of merch like sticker packs with more to come. So please, once again, head over to Patreon. Help us out. It is greatly appreciated. Speaking of those stickers, I got them all separated today. I got a bunch going to all you guys on the show. And then for everybody else that subscribed to the Patreon, I am mailing them out tomorrow. If I don't have your address, keep your DMs open. I'll be hopping in them shortly to make sure I know where to send them. All right, man, let's get to the show. What did you think of Raw? Jesus, this is going to be a hard one to judge in a nutshell because so much shit happened. But in a nutshell, Jay, what was your opinion?
I honestly say that, you know what? This show was actually better than the last show.
Very insightful.
I was going to say, that was a long pause. I was like, very insightful. No, I'm just I'm kind of just literally kind of simplifying it because we got a lot of stuff to cover, man. There's a lot of stuff here that we have to cover. That's why I said it was better than the last show because I mean, look, we did the last show and we were kind of I don't know, we were still kind of
some good stuff.
But this show I can actually talk about and actually be like, oh hey, this wasn't bad at all. This is actually a show that I could actually stay up for and talk about.
So I saw a lot of hate coming at this, and I'm going to call him out. Bob from the After Dark show that I've been doing lately, Bob said this show made him want to stop watching Raw altogether. And
wow.
Yeah, I know, strong opinion, but if I may, I think it's fair to say, regardless, tonight, for the most part, kicked off multiple new stories and angles. It would not be, and I can't sit here and say that all of them are going to be terrific. All I can say is we kicked off. It
was fresh.
Yeah, we kicked off a lot of new stories and angles tonight, and it's not fair to judge them on the launching point. Wait for, the middle of the road. Wait for the conclusion before you go in on this and start saying whether or not you should stop watching Raw. It's like a movie opening up. and within the first 15 minutes, you're like, nah, fuck this movie. You know what I mean? It's like, granted, maybe some of them are that bad, but dude, I don't think that's fair at all to say about Raw, considering the first hour primarily laid on existing stories, and it was the second 2 hours, I think, that did a lot of the majority of the building. Yeah, I don't think it's
But I
fair
think
to
nine
hate on the
times
show.
out of 10, though, 9 times out of 10, people kind of like started to get burnt out by that second to third hour of Raw. That some people kind of don't watch it because after a while, if it's a mediocre in the beginning, then anyone could like what's the word I'm looking for? They can kind of tell what's going to happen. They can interpret what's going to happen next. Yeah. And that could be boring and that could be like stale.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I really don't know what's going to happen a lot, especially with this fucking Raw Underground, dude. Oh my God, I love it. Really quick, Jay. About half in that distance between you and the mic. Like, close about half that distance, by the way.
Oh, sweet.
No, you're good. It just
so
sounds
let's
like...
see if I can, move up just a little bit. Move my camera up just a tad bit. Move it right there. How about now?
You sound better. So let's kick it off, man. We started the show. The broadcast was immediately experiencing some electrical issues, microphones going in and out, lights going in and out. They blamed it on the weather. Definitely left this feeling of, is it intentional? Is it not intentional? And then it led us into the opening match, which was MVP taking on the returning Apollo Crews to essentially unify the United States Championship. And the guys kicked off the match. They had a decent match. It was good. It was fine. It did see Apollo essentially no-sell a released German suplex to deliver that. What would you call that?
Well, it wasn't a release. It was more so of a reversal. That, like, if you didn't notice, the way that MVP kind of threw him, he kind of landed on his the blades. That part is usually where you that's where you usually bump. So he kind of like did the roll and he kind of reversed it, which is like kind of how he got in control for the most part.
Either way, he rolled through. He delivered his finisher. That like, I don't know how to explain it. Just it's a variation.
It's a power bomb.
It's a power bomb.
It's a sit down power bomb. It's a spiral sit down power bomb. That's
there you go.
It's kind of like I'm trying to figure out a sit down spiral power bomb. I don't know what he calls it. So
it has a very simplified name. I just can't think of it right now. Backstage, Apollo gave a cool interview to give off some of his personality, man. He said he's going to give the original United States belt to his kids hanging in their room because he said that was a promise he made to them to give him his first championship. And now he's going to walk around with MVP's United States Championship title, which the more I see it, the more I love that belt. Afterwards, we cut back to the ring, and MVP is blaming the electrical problems for his loss, and he wants a rematch at SummerSlam. So, excuse me. Oh my gosh.
Take your time, man. Take your time.
Yeah. We cut multiple times in the evening that Shane McMahon is up to something. He's got something in the brainchild. And a lot of people were speculating online. There's a new faction that's going to debut. I even saw people saying it may be Lars Sullivan, which just thank God it wasn't.
Didn't they release Lars Sullivan though?
Not that I heard. I think people have been raising hell because out of all the releases, he hasn't been listed. You guys in the chat, find out if Lars Sullivan still has a job.
Yeah, because I thought there was some issue about him. It was like a racist text comment that he made on Twitter.
They uncovered that from like years ago, and they fined him and made him do like sensitivity classes or something, and then he immediately afterwards like squashed the Lucha House Party.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
Oh shit, WWE, what do you do? Anyways, we did learn later on. I mean, if you haven't heard, then you're living under a rock because it's been the most talked about thing all night. It is definitely Raw Underground. It was what Shane McMahon was doing, and it debuts on the third hour. Very smart to hook you for that third hour. We'll get into it whenever it comes up. I did miss this part. It was the Sasha and Bailey segment. My stream went out, so I lost. All I heard was like some voiceover, like almost like cinema voiceover of the tag team. Jay.
Wait, hold on. I mean, because I'm kind of looking at I'm literally looking at my notes here, because I know you kind of like caught because you didn't see that part, so I'm kind of like. I'm like thinking to myself, I was like, yeah, that did happen. Because my notes are like all over the place. Sorry. For the most part, it was kind of like it was a nice little backstage segment. Sasha gets hit by Bailey and Sasha, they're doing their little celebration. Oh, they got the titles. Oh, whatever. Sasha gets interrupted by Shayna Baszler, and pretty much talks about like, oh, how you got handed the title, yada yada yada, and then punches her in the face.
Sweet.
That was fun. That was fun.
Short and to the point, man.
I think we cut to commercial after that.
Kevin Owens turning the Iconics down for being on the Kevin Owens show.
Well, yeah. But they also did a nice little video. They did a thing with Asuka.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't she at the end of that video saying, like, she's going to get her revenge or something?
Yeah. She got something about her having her revenge. That was the one thing that I liked because, to be quite honest with you, I don't know where Asuka's going to end up after this because, I mean, clearly they're not going to take the title off of Sasha right now because she just got it. So,
how fucked up would that be? Considering in 2016 her main criticism was like she could never retain the belt.
At this point, why? Like, they're not gonna. They just took it off of Asuka. They're not gonna give it back to her. She's gonna win at SummerSlam, clearly. So my thing is, I'm worried because they gave Asuka all this power to do pretty much everything. Like she was able to become women's champion after after Becky found out that she was pregnant, and she's been running with it. Then she was able to become tag team champion, and that was good. And now all of a sudden Kari's leaving, and now it seems like everything has been just taken away from her. I love the storyline, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a good storyline for her.
I'm really liking that Shayna's getting more shine and more time on the air. Yeah. Shayna's a star, man. I hope WWE see that.
But Shayna is about to, I guess they're about to let the light shine on Shayna because that's where it's at right now.
It needs to be, man.
So, but you were talking about the whole situation with the Iconics. Kevin Owens gets interrupted by the Iconics, and they try to get a spot on the KO show.
Yes.
But
so, yeah, the Iconics are backstage buttering up Kevin Owens. Like, hey, you should feature us. Kevin Owens says, like, yeah, sure, but not this week. And so he comes out, does they're referring it to as the KO show, not the Kevin Owens show. I don't know if that was always the case. But
well, I mean, like, we all know who KO is. Yeah. It's Kevin Owens. So that's what it stands for.
So Kevin Owens brings out his guest, Ruby Riot. He's diving into the fact that, she got a big win last week. It's her first win since February. And she's all emotional. She's playing it up really well. Really, really, like, sinking you into it. Letting you feel it, man. And she says the only thing that was missing is Liv Morgan. And then cue Kevin Owens be like, oh, it's funny you say that. Wait, here she is. And he brings her out and essentially tells them, like, hey, listen, don't do as I did. I squashed so many friendships and attacked so many people in order to find professional success.
Sami Zayn.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's alluding to that they need to squash their beef, go ahead and team up before they can really make up. Although Ruby does give like an emotional, like just maybe a little bit over the top, but plea to Liv Morgan. The Iconics come out, do their typical trash talk. They both slap the taste out of Kevin Owens, and that's the catalyst. Kevin turns to Riot Squad and cue up the impromptu tag team match. However, what I would have liked to have seen is Kevin Owens stunner both the Iconics. Really felt like that would have gone over better. But
that would have been nice. I was thinking that, is he gonna do it? Is he? I was literally this is me literally watching. I was like, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it?
Yeah, man. Should have stunnered him, bro.
But I don't think. But remember, Kyle. I don't think we're there just yet. With intergender. I mean, yeah, they did it last week with SmackDown with the Fiend and Alexa Bliss, but I don't think we're there just yet. We're not there just yet.
The Riot Squad end up winning.
Yep.
Fairly
Roll
sound.
up.
Afterwards,
I mean, that was a pretty basic match. It wasn't, too much to talk about. It was a roll up, and they get out of there, and pretty much.
Well, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. They get out of there. Liv Morgan got the pin, and then the Iconics immediately started beating her down. And Ruby Riot came in for the save, and then they did their double team like STO, showing unison. And then they both exited the ring together, showing like the the Riot Squad, maybe not officially back together, but definitely united.
Well, I was kind of like getting into the point where like they kind of gave that look, like, oh hey, I think we might be back together. Like, but yeah. You can kind of tell. I don't know how, but Liv Morgan was kind of like playing it off because she kind of seemed more serious. She didn't seem like that playful Liv Morgan that we're used to seeing. It was more of a serious one. So I don't know whether or not this is gonna be. I don't know if they're really putting the Riot Squad together, or is this just like a?
Oh, they're putting them in a feud with the Iconics. We're gonna get this for at least a month, probably up to SummerSlam as a kickoff match.
It's kind of confusing because I don't like I said, I don't really know just by like how emotions, because Liv seemed like she was not bothered by Ruby Riot's like apology and everything. She seemed like super like, okay, yeah, let's hear what you got to say. It wasn't until Kevin Owens said something that they were like, so
yeah, we'll see them. But like I said, they're back together. They're back together. There's already enough heels, and they need more women tag teams. So they're just gonna give them and Iconic something to do while Bayley and Sasha jam up those tag team titles over the main title feuds. Up next, backstage, it's revealed that Apollo Crews accepts MVP's challenge to SummerSlam, and then also it turns out that someone has stolen Shelton Benjamin's 24/7 title, which I think that's the first time the belt has been stolen without being won.
Oh, but you also got to mention the fact that they explained why the lights were flickering.
Oh, why was that?
Because apparently there are a bunch of production boxes that kind of like fell over. So that was the reason why in MVP's match with Apollo Crew that the lights were flickering, and clearly MVP is not happy with that. So
No, absolutely not. Yeah, it's pretty much his like
unfair
That's the reason why he
working
lost the
conditions, if you say.
title. Yeah. So
And then they mentioned the whole situation about the Shelton Benjamin's title being stolen.
right.
So, and then they walk off. They try to figure out, what's going on. And then we get into the very heated. When I say this was fire, this was fire. The confrontation between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton.
Drew shined on the
love,
mic, man. Drew killed it.
He did. I loved the fact that Drew went back to his whole thing about 10 years ago. Him and Orton kind of like being in the same situation where they were young bucks trying to get their stuff together and try to be Vince said that they were going to be the chosen ones. I remember that. Do you remember that? Kyle? I remember Drew McIntyre being the chosen one. Well, I remember it.
Yeah, I wasn't watching at the time. I do like that. So I liked the overall basis of the promos because, promos are like one of the hard things to recap because you have to capture the cadence. So I just write down the message, and it was really cool. For one, Ric Flair's back. That was a nice little touch. I love Ric Flair.
He's old.
I fear for his health, but I love him. But Randy.
Well, of course you love it, man. You're a native. You're a native.
I'm not.
Because you're in.
I live in North Carolina. I'm from Maine.
Well, no, I know that, but I'm saying you live there, so that's your home. At this point,
I don't cheer for the Panthers. I'll tell you that.
Well, that's because they don't have Cam Newton anymore. But anyway.
Anyways, Jesus Christ. Can't believe Patriots picked him up. No, so Randy Orton's main aspect of his promo was that he was actually the chosen one. And that, and he always will be, which is kind of funny, given that, it's always been lingered on that was Drew, so it's kind of cool to see Randy flip it and say it was him. Drew, on the other hand, says that, Randy should have been fired multiple times, which Randy doesn't even deny. And then he also claims that Randy never elevated anyone to his level, unlike the stars before him, like Undertaker, lifting him up. And a lot of the time they were using a lot of backstage lingo, shoot and receipt. Jay, tell us what's a receipt in wrestling lingo.
A receipt, guys, is pretty much so. Say for instance, you're in the ring, and you get shoot hit. So that means you get hit for real. So the thing about it is that you don't cry, you don't moan, you don't bitch about it. You give a receipt, which means you give a real hit back. That's what if you guys were watching what is that if you guys it was one, I think it was a WrestleMania match or whatever, or it was a Royal Rumble match with Braun and Brock. If you noticed.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
If you noticed, I think Braun had pushed Brock a little bit too far. I think gave him a nice little punch or whatever.
He kneed him in the head. Braun kneed Brock Lesnar in the head, and Lesnar immediately blasted Braun. Dude, the fact that Braun didn't even go down from that punch attributes to that man's skull, because that would have knocked anybody out, any real.
That's what I'm saying.
Normal sized human being. Jesus Christ.
But for me, this I guess from watching this product for the past 10, 15 years, and Drew McIntyre being back in the WWE, because I've watched him before. I've watched him during the Chosen One era. when he was supposedly supposed to be the one. Then he gets, he pretty much is not the one. Pretty much gets put into 3MB because we all know what 3MB is. So, and then him getting let go from the company to go back to the Indies and then come right back, be stronger than ever. By the way, go within that indie career, go to TNA and become an even bigger star, and then come back and just to see him flourish and blossom, it's pretty dope. It's a good story that they're using, and I like it. It's a lot of facts here. Like, to be quite honest with you, Randy has been given a lot of chances in the WWE. Like, that man is 100% asshole. That's what he is.
I think they even mentioned him shitting in that person's duffel bag.
I think so.
I really think they brought it up, man. Like,
yeah. I think they did. I don't remember. But I've heard that story.
My favorite receipt though was the one Steven Richards gave to JBL after ECW's one night stand where JBL beat the piss out of Blue
where he beat up the Blue Meanie?
Yeah,
oh
and
my
Steven
God.
Richards got a match against him, like a hardcore match or something, but he blasted JBL with a chair that I think gave him a concussion. Like, absolutely wrecked his shit, man. Yeah, no,
what the biggest receipt of them all is? Brawl for All.
The Brawl for All. Oh my God! It's like, oh yeah, you weren't who we wanted to win, so we're gonna put you in the ring with a killer named Butterbean. Which back in the day, Butterbean was a problem, was a legit problem, regardless of his.
That was
body
a nice,
type.
Kyle. That was a very nice nod to the dark side of the ring. I will give you that one.
Yeah. So backstage, Flair confronts Kevin Owens. He says that you look like you're turning into a guidance counselor. He said you should be, stop caring so much what everyone else thinks. Kevin Owens used it as an opportunity to throw Randy Orton under the bus. He's like, I'm trying to, help guide people down a right path. Kind of the opposite of Randy Orton, which you could, dude, Flair, when he turns it on, dude, with that personality, is such a stud, man. Because he's like, look at me. This ain't old man talking. This is Ric Flair. And he like fucking got in Kevin Owens' face. It was so beautiful, man. But he essentially says, go back to minding your own business and maybe you'll get a title shot at SummerSlam. So Kevin Owens uses the opportunity to challenge Randy Orton to a match next week, which that should be good. I bet KO survives. He doesn't get punted, and Drew McIntyre gets involved.
Or what winds up happening is that I feel like there could be a situation where Orton's about to win, but Drew McIntyre comes in, makes the save, and KO wins.
Maybe.
Like, there's a couple of options here, because you got to remember, Drew got attacked last week after the match.
Yeah.
So Drew might decide to one up and make him lose the match.
Yeah, it could be. Very, very well could be. It's probably going to be the status quo, and Kevin Owens will lose via RKO, but Drew will save him from the punt. That seems like the most plausible one. So you and I were talking earlier about on the phone about Nia Jax here, who she comes out and she's refusing to apologize to, I think, Pat Buck, I want to say his name is. He's an official.
Yep, it's Pat Buck.
Yeah. He's who Jax kind of beat up last week during her whole spat with Shayna Baszler. She refuses to apologize to him and instead challenges him to a match. Of course, he refuses. She ends up mocking him and I think pushing him. And so he suspends her indefinitely without
him
pay.
a ginger.
Yeah, called him Ginger. Like, I thought you'd get fired up. You are a ginger. That's rough, man. But Nia Jax lays him out. So Nia Jax is off TV. But you said this isn't a good thing.
I mean, I guess it's not. I don't feel like it's like not a good thing. I just feel like at this point, like just put if that's the case, put her in development, get her to where she needs to be. Like, I feel like Nia Jax can be a dominant force, and she can be something good if she just controls herself. But, you know, she hasn't been doing that. And I feel like in a situation like this, she's letting all this, because of the fact that, you know, she's in this business, I feel like she may just be letting it get to her head, you know. But
Maybe.
at
I'm
the
trying to
same
figure
time,
out
maybe
if this is like a story or if this is a backstage thing playing out. See, that's what I can't determine. You're talking about it like in a sense that they're taking her off TV to help her improve, but it could all just be for a story. But I don't know. I don't know what it could be.
But I mean, didn't she just hurt somebody? Just like didn't she hurt Charlotte?
That was kayfabe.
Oh, so that was kayfabe.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
kayfabe. That was just to get Charlotte off TV. The
Okay.
last person she hurt was Kairi Sane, between the buckle bomb and then throwing her face first into the steps, giving her that gash on her forehead. Yeah, but I mean that was very recent, and it just caps off a long list of people that she's been reckless and hurt.
Well, I mean, yeah. So I mean, like at this point, like I feel like get her. We don't know. We don't want any more injuries, especially to our women. You know, who are actually, to be quite honest with you, they're rocking it. They're just as bad as the men. They're just as bad as the men. So I don't really feel like they should take her out, but I feel like they should like do something like to get her, more what's she needs more finesse. That's what she needs.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a way that would make me enjoy it, because I genuinely have a hard time enjoying Nia Jax on TV. Like she's kind of bland to me. You know where I get hype is when I saw her feuding with Tamina. Like, I don't really like too many of the matches where she has the size advantage. I really like the idea of her facing off against other people similar in size to her, which I guess Tamina would be the only one.
Which is one of the reasons why I like the fact that it could have been a good thing with her and Shayna Baszler. Yeah. Because even though Shayna is the smaller of the two, like, she can still make her tap out. She still has the strikes. And she can pretty much put her down. Like, it wouldn't really matter.
Yeah? Yeah. We'll have to wait and see, though. As Nia's standing in disgust, Truth emerges. He's the one who has stolen the belt. He's being chased by Tozawa and the Ninjas, and this sets up the triple threat match.
I mean, I'm not surprised. I knew it was Truth the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, come on now. This ended up being a fairly quick and uneventful match, but did result in a title change. Shelton Benjamin's technically the champion. Well, during the match, the Ninjas get involved, because it's no DQ, of course. And while the Hurt Business are tending to the Ninjas, Tozawa is able to hit Truth with a senton and pick up a victory and then run off with the belt. Which is nice. Good for Tozawa, man. He's been doing good work. Give that dude some more shine, man. So he'll
put him back on NXT.
He'll probably lose it on social media, but
put him back on NXT. Lord have mercy.
I know.
He comes into the main roster, gets turned into a ninja, and now he's the 24/7 champion.
Hey, I will say this. No matter what role that he's put in, he gives it like 110%.
Look, I'm not gonna lie, that is dope. You are absolutely right.
Yeah, he doesn't phone it in.
Number one, that fucking senton is a work of beauty. Seeing that thing in slow motion is just amazing. It's just about as amazing as Kairi Sane's elbow. So,
yeah. No, yeah, he gets up there too, man. So we finally see the official reveal of what Shane McMahon is up to. At this point, he runs like a little quick ad. Raw Underground debuts at 10 p.m. I wonder if this is going to be solely a third-hour thing. And essentially, before you get to actually see what it is, you definitely get Fight Club, Bloodsport vibes. They've taken away the ring ropes. And you see two guys in the background, more or less MMA style brawling, not traditional pro wrestling. And so instantly, the moment that happened, I saw Twitter blowing up, a lot of speculation. And I'm not gonna lie, man. When we get there, I'm tickled pink with the shit. I fucking love it. But of course, that's a little bit later. Backstage, Dominic has challenged Seth Rollins to a match at SummerSlam. And then we get probably the low light, in my opinion, of the whole night, the Sasha Banks and Shayna Baszler match, which made no fucking sense. Because during the match, which they're having a great match, Shayna is obviously very dominant, but Sasha has Bayley to help her out, and that's keeping her in the fight. And then for whatever reason, during the match, Asuka comes out, attacks Bayley. That makes sense, but the ref calls the fucking match, man. And it's just stopped. It stopped. You have two people who are non-participants in the match brawling outside of the ring, not interfering in the match whatsoever, and the ref calls it off. This right here is a big fucking miss. Yeah, but I mean, obviously, the reasoning behind it is obvious. WWE doesn't want either of these two people to take an L, regardless. So we come up with a screwy of screwy fucking finishes. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much. But afterwards, Asuka, frothing at the mouth because of Kairi Sane wanting revenge for her friend.
No. She's literally just, she's livid. Like, yeah. Asuka, I like this. I like it. Like, it's not messing up her character. They're letting her speak in Japanese. They're letting her do her thing, and I like it. Like, they're not giving her something to read. And I don't know. The face paint is kind of sexy. Not gonna lie.
Oh man, she challenges Sasha Banks to a match. Banks accepts, but with the stipulation that Asuka can beat Bayley next week, which Bayley obviously looked taken back and very surprised. Love the little subtle hints of these two. You can do it,
Sasha. You can do it. Yeah.
Yes. Way to give it back, Sasha. No, it was good. Shayna Baszler was there too, like cheering Asuka on. It was like, hey, look, I'm waiting in the wings, but you go kick her ass. Which I thought that made sense. Not all heels have to be dicks 100% of the time.
So do you think that Shayna's like this face?
No. I just think she has a little bit more character depth than I'm just bad guy 100% of the time.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she's still very
So we get to where we're practically done with whatever that was. That no contest.
Yeah, Shayna unfortunately, Shayna's not allowed to win nor lose a match right now, it appears. And they keep pairing her up with heels. That's another funny thing, too. Yeah. Dude, Garza, so what was more out of place? Raw Underground or Demi from The Bachelor being a guest?
I think that was the most out of place because, to be quite honest with you, was she on? She wasn't even on Raw last week.
No. She just appeared. She was just like, "Hey, I'm in town."
Appeared out of thin air. Like,
yeah, man. Garza's out here getting Demi's phone number, and then we got another preview for Raw Underground, which showed off the a powerbomb knockout and some exotic dancers. Oh man, that had Twitch going. Fucking love it, man. Hey, and this is how you know you're onto something. And I said this on Twitter. This is how you know you're onto something, because you're getting a strong reaction on either side of the fence. You're not going to ever create something that's universally loved, but the last thing you want is apathy. And either like everybody on Twitter was either really fucking into it or hated it so much, like I mentioned earlier, said they'd never want to watch Raw again. So that's how you know you're doing
probably,
something.
I felt like in this situation that people would have been like, at least like, what? What? Like, they would have been shocked, surprised. Yeah. But when you told me that people are like, I don't want to watch Raw again, I was like, well, damn.
Yeah. Sorry, Bob. I don't mean to call you out, buddy. I love you, though. I think think Bob just had a
Like,
hard
I
night.
honestly feel like this episode was actually not that bad. Like, it wasn't that bad.
It really seemed like WWE is trying something. You know what I mean? It's like
It's not some shit that they just put together. They look like they're actually trying to give us something good.
I did see one thing that kind of put it in perspective though is there is this overall feeling that Raw Underground will probably last all of like 6 weeks, and then a year from now be part of like some work shoot promo referring to something that was terrible. But fucking just let it be for now. Just let it be for now.
Just enjoy what we got, man.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
So we get so it turns out we do discover that Raw Underground is not the third hour programming, meaning it's not going to run for the full third hour. It is used in short segments like everything else. It's shot in this gritty, dark, almost like Lucha Underground / Def Jam Vendetta type vibe to it. And
Let's pause this for a second. Let me give a round of applause to Kyle for mentioning one of the best wrestling games of all time.
oh fuck yeah, bro. Yeah, man. Are you kidding me?
One of the best. I mean, outside of Fight for New York, Vendetta was like one of the best.
Oh, Fight for New
wrestling
York
games
was
of all
like my
time.
favorite.
But yeah, like I definitely got that feel from it. I kind of got that Fight Club feeling, that Def Jam Vendetta feeling, that it was just kind of, it was weird. The Lucha, like I thought more of Lucha Underground than anything, because
Yeah.
Lucha Underground was literally that. It literally looked like that, except with ropes.
At any point, I was expecting Shane McMahon to be like, "You're about to witness some Aztec warfare," you know.
Oh my god.
So let's break this down really quick. Like when we finally got a dose of it. So we're first introduced to Daba Kato, and he's a beast of a person. He brutalizes one guy, just beats him down in like almost like a shoot MMA style. And then he ends up beating down a second person. But all while this going on, there's very loose officiating. The referee in there is dressed in all black, doesn't have the traditional outfit. And you have Shane McMahon both commentating and just running shit on the mic the whole time. Like, send this guy in. Okay, fight's over. Like Shane McMahon is reffing the ref from the outside, which I think is just, it's hilariously good, though. Like, I loved it.
Like, Shane has a lot of charisma, man. I love it. I love it.
But there's
He's
absolutely
entertaining
almost
when he's not, all over the place.
yeah. No, there's absolutely no structure. Shane just starts and stops matches at will.
Remember, that's Rob's favorite wrestler of all
it's the
time.
greatest of all time, man.
Greatest of all time.
Or the best in the world, rather. But
Yeah.
I will say one thing, though, that I fucking hate is the gritty underground look instantly gets killed by those, like, thousands of fucking camera cuts. Like, you need longer, lingering shots on the action, but there's just too many camera cuts. But I will say one thing, though. Daba Kato's got a hell of a belly to belly. Like, Bailey would be fucking jealous, man.
To be quite honest with you, he looked like he fell on him when he did that belly to belly. I'm just saying.
He looked
like
brutal,
he squashed
man.
him.
Yeah, man. So from one polarizing angle to another, and which, like, how do I say this? So the Raw Underground lifted me up, but then with Montez Ford collapsing, it gave me cold chills, like a very gritty mortality type look at professional wrestling.
Well, no,
which is not a
did you
feeling you
notice?
get often.
Did you notice in the beginning of in the segment with the Street Profits? Because I kind of noticed it.
Well, I noticed he was being more serious.
Well, no, here's the thing. I don't know if you noticed, but when Angel Garza and Andrade came out. I don't know if you noticed, but Montez Ford was drinking his cup, and when he was drinking his cup, he kind of like he had this weird look on his face, like this tastes weird.
So it's, you know what, I probably missed it, but obviously going back, you'd pick up on it.
Yeah, no, like I saw the thing about it is that I saw that was the first thing that I saw, and I was like, he drinks out of that cup all the time, but he doesn't look at it weird.
It's never.
So I was like,
yeah,
okay, cool, no problem. You know,
yeah.
it's nothing. It's no problem. It's not a problem whatsoever. So we get into the match, and you know, Angelo Dawkins is doing his thing. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Big dog all day, and next thing you know, Montez Ford falls down to the mat. Next
he's
to
on the ring apron, and he's like shaking the ropes and getting really amped, and then he just like faints.
Yeah, he faints. Angelo Dawkins is distracted. Pretty much that gives Angel Garza the opportunity to pretty much steal the win. So, and then they still got another match.
Vince in the chat's like, so what you're saying is Montez got roofied. Yeah, no, Montez, maybe
he got roofied,
but
bro.
at this point,
roofied.
But that's the thing, is at this point you don't know that. Like the first thing that came across everyone's mind was, are they doing a heart attack angle? Are they really trying to simulate a man having a heart attack in the ring? Which to me, I was like, nah, they're gonna make it look like that, but they'll say it was like dehydration or something. That was my first instinct. Something to write off someone fainting but make it look dramatic. But yeah, this is what got me. Angelo loses the match, but he still crawls to Montez's side. Like, are you okay, bro? And Montez is kind of coming to. He's really bewildered and out of it. You cut to commercial. You come back. Montez Ford is now in a match with Andrade. And the commentary team tried to sum it up and say, like, oh, yeah, during the commercial break, medical personnel came out here and cleared him. Like, I'm sorry, man. I don't know how quickly you can go from unconscious to cleared for a professional fighting bout. But that's the only part that threw me off. During his match with Andrade, he did the whole rope spot where he shakes the rope and screams at the hard cam, and then he went out again. And this one was very dramatic. He had the 1,000-yard stare in his eye. Everybody was super concerned. And like I said, it was a very grim segment. Like, it didn't seem goofy or played out. It had a very, very grim tone to it, man.
Yeah, it was not all fun and games with this one. It was kind of It wasn't the usual fun and games. You know,
a very dark
chucking and jiving
for
stuff that we usually see
the Street
from
Profits too.
The Street Profits. It was really, like you said, it was grim. Like, that was crazy. You know,
it was very, very much.
So they call for the match, no contest, and you know they check on him. They check to see if he's okay. They pretty much say, if I'm not mistaken, they make sure he's okay, and then if I'm not mistaken, they go back into the backstage.
We catch up with him in the training room, but what followed this was the Murphy watching the cell phone footage of him pushing Aleister Black's eye into the steps.
Yes, and if you guys don't know, we haven't seen Aleister Black since last week. So
no, Aleister Black's done. Yeah, Rollins said he's proud of him though, man. He did it for the greater good.
Yeah, but you notice that that he's kind of like, did I really just do this? Like, you can see some hesitation.
He's got depth. How do you like that, man? Characters with a little bit of depth, heels that maybe feel some sense of guilt. You know, it's crazy. I know, but having a multi-dimensional character might make them more intriguing, and it's cool that we're gonna get that with Murphy, man. Because I believe Murphy can be a star. You just gotta let it happen, man. By the way, my sound plug fucked up, so here's your greater good plug.
All about the greater good.
Greater good. Greater good.
Yeah, I fucked up on the tech side. No, but Murphy reveals to Seth Rollins this whole idea of Dominic challenging him to a match is ridiculous. Dominic's never had a pro wrestling match in his life. You know, he's green as fucking baby shit. But Rollins,
You know what? We'll talk. We'll talk about that. We'll literally talk about that later on.
yeah.
But
We did go back to Raw Underground again. This was my favorite part, just because he's my spirit animal. Eric from the Viking Raiders is in a match, and he mauls a motherfucker, dude, with an incredible German suplex, and then he does that like judo throw roll up to like kneeing him in the face. This was probably the most violent looking like Viking Raiders I've ever fucking seen, dude. Eric back there looked like a beast, man. What'd you think of it?
Kyle, you can do it, man. You can do it. It's all you. You can do it. You can be Eric.
Dude, I'm gonna be. I'll be in for fucking Halloween, man. I'm gonna get the tattoos. Just get this beard a little bit longer. Yeah, man.
So, after all of that, Eric celebrates. He wins. Clearly, he wins because he just mauled the fuck out of that dude.
The piss.
Everyone, the announcers seem to like. They seem to like the new concept going on with Raw Underground.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go back to Charlie, who is in the training room trying to figure out what's going on with Montez Ford.
Yes.
They said that she's outside of the training room.
For one.
And
For
pretty
one,
much
Angelo Dawkins looked so serious and down, I couldn't recognize him with that.
Yeah, he was. It was weird.
I physically could not recognize him without that air of of confidence and positivity. He looked like a different person in this segment, just because of how grim the tone was. It was nuts, man. But yeah, no, like you said.
So like what happens is that pretty much, while Charlie is right there, Angel Garza walks up to and flirts with Charlie, which that's okay with me because, Charlie is a very attractive woman. She's fucking hot. And then, they all walk up and they apparently seem like they're concerned for Montez Ford, but they're not. But
turns out the fucker may have been poisoned. That's what it is.
So Angelo Dawkins comes out of the training room, and apparently they say that he's been poisoned. He was poisoned before the match.
Yeah,
but unbeknownst to them, the EST of Raw, Bianca Belair, was also in there, and we all know that that's Montez Ford's.
It's his wife, man.
So she had a lot of words to say. She already knew what was going down. She already knew what was going on.
Halfway through Zelina Vega talking, she was already removing her earrings.
You know what was about to happen. She's like, which one of y'all poisoned my husband and everything? And she got ready. It was on. She literally was about to take off it. She took off her earrings, and you knew what was about to happen. Once she took off the earrings, bam,
back up, man.
She went right after Zelina. It was hilarious.
Man. That's cool, man. Triple threat match at SummerSlam. Bianca Belair, Zelina Vega, and Charlie Caruso. Make it happen.
Buddy.
All right.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So this next part, I think low-key might be the most controversial one, because of the real-world implications of rioting and looting. I'm wondering if this is going to strike people as tone deaf. All the glitches and production issues that we had, we finally found out what really happened. Apparently 6 hooded figures from a van, looking like the ninjas, but I don't think it's intended to be the ninjas.
I sure as hell thought they were the ninjas. I tell you, I did.
Oh yeah, because I mean, they were dressed in all black, and they ran up on like what's the box called again? What'd you say it was?
The generator.
It was like a generator or something. Yeah.
Truck, but it was like a generator or whatever.
Yeah, but they ran up on it and they lobbed a shit ton of Molotovs and destroyed it, and they were celebrating in the destruction.
A transformer.
Yeah. But it essentially looked like looting, and well, not necessarily looting, but like rioting and vandalism. And so, to me, my initial gut was like, oh, Jesus, this kind of reminds me of like fucking rioting that's going on. So I'm wondering if that's going to be controversial or if I'm just reading too much into it.
Well, let's hope it's the second one, because the last thing we need right now is another controversial issue
for them to have to
WWE
backpedal
right
and
now.
Completely drop. You know, like at this point, you've already done something. We got to see it through. So I would hate for this to just stir up a shitstorm and then for them to drop it and act like it didn't happen. Because in my opinion, that would just be much worse.
After that, we pretty much go into commercial. Then they go back to the backstage, and Charlie approaches the Hurt Business. She talks about how, you know, things haven't gone really good for them because everyone has lost the titles. You know, MVP is a little upset about it, I guess, because of the fact that Charlie's doing her job, clearly.
But they're suspicious of Raw Underground. They said, look at all this crazy shit that's happening, and it just so happens to be Shane McMahon's debut of Raw Underground. We're going to go pay him a visit. So we know that we're going to get Hurt Business in Raw Underground later on.
Because they don't know what at that point, they didn't know what was going on with Raw Underground until Charlie told them that it was going to be fighting. And they're like, oh, really?
We have,
they got
a former MMA fighter in this crew. And we got.
Well, they got an MMA fighter. They have a pretty much an All-American wrestler, they have if I'm not mistaken, we got a martial artist and MVP.
Yeah, so we're like, we're three shit kickers. We'll go pay him a visit.
Yeah.
We finally get the Seth Rollins segment, and oh boy, this was so good. Oh my God, man! I was. When I initially saw Rollins, I was like, God, man, I'm really getting tired of all this, like, the greater good stuff. And I'm like, I could use a break. But when he turned his attentions to Tom Phillips, and Tom Phillips looked like he was going to shit himself. Like, looked fucking terrified, man. It was the dopest shit. Essentially, Rollins didn't take too kindly that Tom Phillips was cheering Dominic on last week when Dominic was beating the piss out of Rollins with that kendo stick, and essentially ordered Murphy to remove Tom from his commentating duties. And Samoa Joe was not having any of that, bro. And Samoa Joe looked like a fucking badass. I'm upset.
I don't give a damn what nobody says. I don't care if Joe is in a suit or not. Do not. He still look badass in that fucking suit. Like I wouldn't touch that man any day.
He looked
through that.
He looked Rollins in the face and said, "You're mad about Tom Phillips laughing at you?" He's like, "I laughed 10 times harder than Tom Phillips laughed last week when Dominic was wearing you out." Oh my God!
I
man.
was so ready for this. I was ready for Joe to come out of semi-retirement. I was ready for it,
dude. Essentially, Rollins says, "You don't want none." Joe says, "Yes, I do." So Rollins and Murphy retreat to the ring, invite Joe in. I thought they were going to set up like an official match. When we come back from commercial, Rollins and Murphy have armed themselves with chairs, and while they're standing off with Joe on the outside, Dominic comes in and just goes off. He has an incredible segment. He took the guys out with a kendo stick. Eventually, Rollins wrestled the kendo stick from Dominic, but accidentally hit Murphy. Dominic ends up doing this sick chop block to Rollins in midair, which sets up one of probably the 619 doesn't really look that violent, but like Dominic came around with that shit with some
it wasn't even a
velocity.
chop block though.
Huh?
That's the thing. It wasn't even a chop block. Dominic literally just ducked. He ducked out of the way.
He shouldered one of Seth Rollins' legs. Yeah,
because from the way it looked like Dominic didn't even touch him.
No, he definitely clipped one of Seth Rollins' legs.
Okay.
He came up. He rose up with his shoulder.
Well, they were moving pretty quick though.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
I mean, it was a fast-paced segment, man. But yeah, Dominic wore him out, man. He hit Rollins with probably one of the hardest hitting 619s I've ever seen. And then he does like a top rope plancha, splash, dive.
Crossbody.
There you go. Onto Murphy and Rollins and runs them off. In which case, Rollins at the top of the ramp accepts Dominic's challenge for SummerSlam.
Well, here's my thing is, I would love to say that that conditioning that by Dominic was freaking amazing. Because for him to do all of that and still have all of that adrenaline, all of that energy, like that was pretty good. That was really good.
Yeah.
He wanted to talk about the fact that, he doesn't know, he's never wrestled in his first match. He's green as shit. Damn it, if Dominic did not look good in this segment, I don't know what to tell you guys because he actually looked pretty good. I'm a little worried for Seth because Dominic actually might be.
Seth's gonna fucking murder him.
No.
Yeah.
No, that can't happen. You want to know why it can't happen?
Match,
they let Ray lose
him.
at the pay-per-view.
We'll get the return of Rey Mysterio is what will probably happen.
Well, but they won't lose the match. They can't lose at SummerSlam. They've already lost at Extreme Rules. They've pretty much lost. All there has ever been is at the big fight. Pretty much Seth has won.
Yeah.
So now there has to be some come up. There has to be. There's no way in hell they would let this feud like go. Like it's gonna stretch for like one more pay-per-view and that's it.
You know, it'd be crazy if Seth loses. That means he'll have lost at both WrestleMania and SummerSlam. Yeah. This year. My favorite part during this whole segment was once Dominic was in the ring with that kendo stick, working on Seth and Murphy. Samoa Joe ran back to the commentary booth to get to hop in on the action.
God, yes.
Not even in his jacket.
I literally thought I was like, where's Joe? Where's Joe go?
You hear him? I was like, he got him with a double leg. He's taking him down. Like, just.
I was like, Joe. Oh my God. That is. Dude, you know what? So Joe is very, very entertaining. He is,
man.
But he gets hit with the kendo stick. You know, we've literally all gone through that whole situation. Seth accepts the challenge, and everybody tries to like calm down for what just happened. Byron's trying to calm everybody down. Like, okay, everybody, let's calm down. Let's get back to you know.
If Tom Phillips doesn't give Samoa Joe a public thank you next week, Samoa Joe deserves better.
But now we get to the final segment of Raw Underground.
Dude,
where now
I bet you when this idea came out of this whole like underground fighting, because Dolph Ziggler is the first guy they show, Dolph must have been like chomping at the bit. Like, yeah, let me show off some of my real life stuff that I got, because he's such a well-renowned amateur wrestler. And he just works this dude through his grappling. He works the piss out of this guy and ends up taking him out with a rear naked choke. My only issue with this is in this like shoot MMA style, the rear naked choke works like a charm. But then when you're in like a pro wrestling match, it's a sleeper hold and it's like a rest hold, you know, and almost nobody succumbs to it. But it's just a.
Well, I mean, it's not a protected move, man.
I know
it's not a protected move.
But that's the thing though. In like an MMA environment, a rear naked choke it's done. Like like 99 out of 100 times, you ain't going nowhere. It's one of the most dominating submission moves. But yeah, it's just like one of those things. Like it's one of those moves that in real life and then in pro wrestling, it is on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, and it's just kind of like a weird thing. Like I could talk about it for a while, but it's minor. It has nothing to do with tonight. But what do you think of the Hurt Business taking over Raw Underground on its debut night?
I kind of seen it coming. I thought because considering the fact that Bobby Lashley is an MMA fighter, Shelton Benjamin is an All-American amateur wrestler, and MVP is a martial artist. Like I knew that was going to happen, and they pretty much cleaned house. Shout out to Dio Madden and Isaiah Swerve Scott for being in that segment because you don't see them too often. Well, you don't see
last
Dio
time
Madden.
we saw Dio Madden, he got laid out by Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and this time he gets laid out by Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not gonna lie, the man looks good though. Like I wish they would like do something with him, put him back on commentary or something. Stop putting him in segments, being the and him being the crowd. You know.
I agree with you. It's interesting. I like that they come out and they say the Raw Underground's under new management. Night one, you invade the show and take it over. It's cool though. But yeah, you already ran it. Not only did they beat up guys in the ring, the tonal shift was like, okay, everybody, like the spectators were like, we've had enough, and they're trying to leave. And so they go into the crowd and just start beating the piss out of the crowd. and then, they clear house, man. They clear house. They shut it down. And that's how Raw went off the air, man. And wow, what a Raw!
Hurt Business, and business is booming.
Yes, dude. I love the fact that they're named the Hurt Business, which is by far one of the best faction names ever.
I'll give them that. The Hurt Business is actually a really good. I'm trying. The reason why I paused was because of the fact that I tried to think of a recent name, that's good besides, the Viking Experience. But
anyways. Thank you guys
Give
for
me a
joining us.
second, Kyle. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to make fun of it because of the fact that I hate that name. God.
What'd you guys think of Raw tonight? Let us know in the comments. Hit us up at Twitter at SmackDrawPod, myself at the Kai Tai Show, and Jay over here at JThunder2009. Once again, please like, share, and subscribe the video. Head over to the Patreon. Subscribe there too, man. We really, really would appreciate it. And stick around. What do we got coming up this week? We got nothing coming out tomorrow. We got the Wednesday show lineup.
Unpopular opinion.
Thursday. Yep. That's what we shot with oh gosh, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now. The Dead Ass Podcast and I forget her name. Oh, I feel so terrible. Oh gosh. She's a producer on Putting You Over. She's a wonderful person. She's from Canada, and it was hilarious every time we brought up Natalia Hart and everything. That girl will die on that sword. Canadians stick together. I will say that.
We also got Wednesday. You guys remember to check out NXT and AEW.
Yeah. But so once again, appreciate you guys sticking around with us. And until next time, you guys have a good one.
Deuces.